the most important news to pay attention to. One thing that stood out is that tomorrow, the federal chairman, Powell, he's speaking. So for those who don't know, he basically always just tells us what's about to happen with interest rates. Every single month, they announce interest rates one time a month. Every single time that we have interest rates about to happen, the market is going to be slow until it said what's going to happen. Does that make sense? So it's always safe to like trade after his announcement is settled, maybe like an hour to two after he speaks. Because sometimes you can be in a trade and you might get wicked out. It might go in a direction for one point and then go into another direction because people are like all over the place. Literally, you can watch it as he speak. If you pay attention, if you ever watch him live, you'll literally see the market. Like if you're on the 5 minute, 15 minute, you'll be seeing it going up and down, up and down, up and down because people are just paying attention to every single word that's coming out of his mouth. That's why too he has to be careful of what he says. Um, so yeah, so just be prepared for that for tomorrow. I do see something playing out at least tonight, hopefully. If it doesn't play out tonight, I'm gonna get into all that. I'm still not going to be looking for anything until after he speaks, which should be around like midday or something like that. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Overall, that's just for Monday. There is other stuff coming out from the week, but I'm not really worried about that. The main thing was just the interest rates because that really is going to show the overall direction of where we're going in the market. And then for the most part, news always plays out with our technical analysis. It's just the extra boost of confidence. So that was the main thing to watch out for. If you do decide not to trade tonight, but to trade tomorrow, I will wait for that part. So I'm going to pull up the dollar. I'm going to start from the daily. And then I want to point out some areas of support and resistance. So this, you remember, you always look at the points that stand out the most. So looking at this, you can see right here, this was a place where price was stopping at right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is an area of support. That box is supporting price. So it's literally a stop sign of where price kept stopping at. So you can see it was doing that multiple times. And then you can see eventually right here, it broke through right there. And then it came back to retest it right here. Does everybody see that? And remember, you can have a break and retest of a zone, or you can have a break and retest of a trend line for an entry. Okay. We're not trading the dollar, but this is just giving us a reference with everything else. So, the higher time frames take forever to play out, but this is still giving you your overall direction of what you're looking for. So just looking off the structure right here, point A, point B, pull back, continuation, just from that break and retest right there. So overall, I do see the dollar going down, okay? It came to 61.8, so I do see it eventually coming right here, okay? Now, just off that alone, I'm already looking at GU and EU to go up. Because remember, the currencies do the opposite of the dollar. That makes sense to everybody? Now, just know too that this is just one giant structure on the daily, but inside there's going to be there's going to be like other opportunities as well. So if we go to the 4 hour, you remember inside of each structure, there's another structure. So just how I drew out this daily, we have another structure right here that's playing out inside of that. So oops. I'm going to make this daily one. That's my overall structure. And then this is my 4 hour structure inside of that one leg. So looking at this one right here, my point would start from that high. Oops. Am I recording? Okay. I'm glad I'm recording. Okay. So I'm going to start from this high, take it to that low right there. We hit 23.6. So what does 23.6 mean on a FIB?
It will go to TP1.
What will the market do? Because each fib level tells you how long it's going to take or what it's going to do. But that's part of the answer, though.
It's gonna be like a small pullback before.
Consolidation.
Yes, consolidation.
Okay.
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
I said since it hit 23.6, what is price going to do in this area?
Oh, okay.
23.6 on the fib level means it's going to consolidate before it shoots down. So consolidation is just basically it's going to play around in this area for a minute before it continues down.
Gotcha.
Especially because it is at this daily level. So if you look here, looking left, you remember we just marked this off on the daily level. Now we're on the 4 hour. So now being on the 4 hour, you can see it every time it was in this area, you had some sort of consolidation happening. This one pretty much just shot up. But at certain points, for the most part, there's a lot of areas right here where it was just sitting in that area before it continued in its overall direction. So with it hitting 23.6, it could be playing around in this area right here. This whole area right here still counts too. Let me delete this real quick. This here to here, this is a whole area where price has just been staying at. So it's been consolidating already. Now it's just a moment of, okay, when are we going to break out of this area to continue? So then that's when you'll have your trend line from the bottom. Because you remember, when you're looking for price to go down, you're drawing your trend line from the bottom, like that. When you're looking for price to go up, then, you're going to take it from the top. Let me delete this real quick. Because when you're looking for price to go up, you want to see price break out of this trend line. Oops, wrong one. You want to see price break out of this trend line, retest it, and bounce up. Now, if you're looking for the downtrend, you want to see it break through that, retest it, continue. Does that make sense? Yeah, thumbs up. Okay, perfect. So that's where I see the dollar going. The dollar overall, I do see it going down. Just looking at the higher time frames. And then, like I said, from the smaller time frames, it's just been consolidating in this area. So it's just a matter of time of when. So now I'm gonna go to GU and EU because that's what we've really been, focusing on. I didn't draw my foundation levels or anything yet because I literally just pulled up a clean chart just to show you guys before I go into my chart. But looking at this structure right here on GU, so remember, we always look at the highs that are pointing out the most, the points that are pointing out the most. So we can see this point at the bottom. We can see this point right here at the top. Yes, there's points in between, but that's not the biggest one out of this overall picture, out of this whole area we're looking at. These points are the ones that are sticking out the most. These still count as highs and lows. They're just going to be on the smaller time frame. Okay, right now we're just looking at the daily, the points that are sticking out the highest. Okay, so these are the highs and the lows that are sticking out the most on this daily time frame. So boom, starting from here, point A, point B, pull back, continuation. This is our overall daily structure we're looking at. So we kind of hit, let me see if we hit 38. We kind of did hit it a little bit off these points, barely. So it's pretty much in between the 38 to 23.6. Either way, this is our overall target, is right here at TP1. Okay? And do you guys see how this is literally the opposite? The dollar daily we see going down, and it's almost there. GU which is just the GBP, Great British Pound versus the US dollar, it's going up because it's trading against the dollar. So it's going to be doing the opposite of the dollar. So this is the overall target right here for GU. Okay, does that make sense? And do you guys see how it's just like the opposite? So it's a good to reference too. It helps you know too if you were in the right direction. So say if you were just trading, looking at the GU chart and you just want some more clarification, it's always good to go to the DXY. Just mark it up real quick. You don't have to do nothing crazy, but just really identifying the support and resistance and the structure on where it's going. That alone can just help you with the direction of GU. So knowing that this is our overall point right here, TP1, like I said, this is a daily, so this is going to take forever to happen. This whole thing to finish here, it could take like a couple more weeks to play out, but we know overall that we are going to be looking for majority buys. And on top of that, like I just drew this high right here, and you can see we're already broken right here. We broke past it, so that's just showing you too that we are still continuing up to TP1. So now I'm going to mark up some support and resistance areas. So this is the daily, okay? So we have this part right here, this bottom part supporting. So every time it came down here, it bounced back up. And then we kind of have these, let me go a little bit to the left. So you guys can see these, even these three high points right here. 1, 2, 3. So I'm just going to take it across. Boom. So now you can see we have 1 point. That's what's always good to look left too. 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, which was resisting. It was resisting the zone. That's why it's called a resistance. And it bounced back down. We broke past it, came back for support, bounced up, broke through, retest as resistance again. Right here again, we had resistance, push down. Now we kind of broke through that area right here. But you can't really see it right here on the daily. But that's why we have to go to the 4-hour. But this is what I'm seeing right now on the daily structure. Okay. So now remember, there's always a structure inside a structure. What I just drew out right here, this red line, that's our daily. So with structure being inside a structure, we have a structure right here. Boom, 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 like that. And then we have another structure forming inside of this area right here. So I'm about to go to the 4-hour. So looking at this 4-hour right here, we can see it had this resistance area right here. So it resisted the zone and it pushed down to right here to support. So this was an area where price was stopping. So this was a structure right here that played out. Boom, boom, boom. With our fib, it hit the TP that I was supposed to hit, okay? So that structure's done. Now, we're in this new structure right here. You can see price came up to this zone right here at that point. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. It came to here, then it pulled back and then continued. Okay, so you can see this is the low right here, the high right here that broke. You can see price broke through that high. Let me make this thicker, make it orange. That's an alert going off. Okay, and then we had a low right there that was made, okay? Now, since it's broke through here, now we have this structure right here. We're gonna place our fib. We always place our fib once we see it pull back. So you can see it pulled back to 38.2 and boom, it hit TP1. So that structure is finished, okay? But like I said, we still have this overall TP we're looking for, but we're still able to trade in between. So now inside of this structure that just played out, you remember there's always a structure inside of the leg. That's why I tell you guys, like when you're drawing a structure, draw it out just like how I'm drawing it out, because then once you go to your time frame underneath it, all you're gonna do is go to one of these lines and find another structure inside of it. So for example, right now I just drew this as my 4 hour. Now I'm about to go to my 1 hour and draw my 1 hour structure. So now I'm about to go into this leg right here, this last leg right here. Same thing, I'm gonna start from this low because that's that low that I'm seeing right here on the screen sticking out. These highs right here, they all stopped at this level. This high, this low right here, this stuck out the most. So boom, now I already have my structure off of this. So now this is my 1 hour inside of there. Get a little bit thicker. Okay. So now,
Okay, so that makes sense now. Sorry to cut you off.
here,
So like when I go into, because I emailed you the EU,
mm-hmm.
but I haven't gone into it yet, just because I was waiting on the call to happen first. But so I would just go within what I already did and look at it at a different time frame.
Yes, because you sent me that was your 4 hour, right?
That was my 4 hours, so I would do the 30 minute and the 1 hour.
Yes.
Okay, got you.
Right. Yep. And make it color coordinated too. So you see how like this blue was my 4 hour, my green is my 1 hour.
Okay, so I just choose which colors I want to do for each.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool beans.
Okay, so now that I identified my structure on this 1 hour, once I place my fib, point A to point B, I'm gonna hide the one behind it just so it won't confuse. So now we can see on here, we came to, let me see if it closed here. Yeah, it closed at 38.2. So always too, when you're looking at your fibs and where it closed at, the wicks don't count. It has to be an actual candle on the line. So you see how these candles are full? It has to be a candle on the line. It can't be like the wicks, those wicks at the top. It can't wick there. If it wicks there, then that means it's not. So let's just say if it wicked at 38.2, it wouldn't be considered 38.2. It would be considered 23.6. Okay, so since it closed at 38.2, it's valid, it's 38.2, which means now for that structure, this is going to be our TP1 right here. Okay, so overall too, let me go to, oh dang, I made it disappear. Let me redraw it. Oh, no, there it is. So do you guys see how, well, look, let me do this first. So the 4 hour TP1 was hit right here. I'm gonna make them, I'm gonna just say purple, okay? And then this TP1, the 1 hour TP1 was right there. I'm gonna make that like this pink. Okay. So we hit that 1 hour, 4 hour TP1. Now the next TP1 is this pink one. That's our next target that we're looking for. Now going back to our daily, you see our daily is still up here though. But like I said, that's just our target and we're trading inside of it. So this is what I mean when I say there's many opportunities to take, excuse me, till you get to that overall target. That makes sense? Okay. So now, since we know that this is our next target right here, TP1, we already have like confirmation that it's still continuing up for a buy. Now, remember, like I said, the three most important things in trading, where the market is going. That's what we just identified, right? That's our daily that we're looking for it to go up. So we did that. Now, step two, where to get in. That's what we're about to go over. And three, where to get out. We already know we're getting out at our TP1s or TP2s, depending on where it hit our fib level. So right now, based off this structure that we just looked at right now, this green one, We had 38.2, so we already know this one right here, TP1, that's going to be where we're going to get out. Now we need to figure out where we're going to get in. Has everything I said made sense so far? Okay, great. So now looking at the 1 hour, this red one, remember, is our daily, but I still want to identify like my 1 hour resistance areas or support. So just looking at this, I'm gonna make it, we're on the 1 hour, so this is gonna be my green. I have these two highs right here that I seen stop in this area. So I'm gonna draw it across. We draw zones because instead of lines, because some traders you might see draw lines. Sometimes I do it too. It depends on, how can I say? I would say I mainly draw lines on gold because gold pretty much tests a line more than a zone. So with that being the case, we draw zones because it ranges in that area. It's not just when it comes to currencies, it's not like it's going to go to that line and then just bounce back. It's going to range. So even if you look right here where I just highlighted yellow, you can see like they're ranging in this area. It's not just stopping and then dropping. It's a range. So that's why I draw zones. So let me make this green since this is 1 hour. So we can see in this zone right here, we have resistance. It came to that zone, resisted it. It's fighting against it, drops down. Came back here, hit it again, dropped down. It's resisting the zone. Then you can see eventually we broke through it right here. And then we came back right here as support. So now this area is lifting price up. Okay. So now this is a continuation of our overall 1 hour that we're looking for. This could have been an entry right here because it's a break and retest of a zone with all those other confirmations that we just went over. Now, this is on the 1 hour though, and just because you miss one entry doesn't mean like you're gonna miss it like forever. I mean, unless like you miss like a lot of entry points, but that's whatever too because there's always gonna be another trade. So even looking at this with this 1 hour, remember inside of there's another. So inside of this, there is a 30-minute structure, okay? So we have, I'm gonna draw out a few right here. We have this one right here that had already played out, boom, boom, boom. And then look, I'm gonna show you guys, this is a 30-minute one, but when we draw our fib, we can see it hit TP2 and then it dropped. So usually when we hit TP2, we're always gonna have a pullback before it continues, or a pullback before it changes overall direction. Remember, when we're looking at our 30-minute and it hits TP2, just like this instant right here on this purple one that I just drew, it's only going to pull back, okay? Which it did. It just pulled back to this green zone before it continues riding this overall trend that we're looking for. Now, if it hit TP2 on a higher time frame, like on a 1 hour, 4 hour, then that means we're going to change overall direction. So, for example, if this was a 1 hour or 4 hour structure and we hit TP2, we would not be continuing up like how we said we are. We would be changing direction from buys to sells if it was on the higher time frame. That makes sense? Okay. So that played out already. So now, like I said, we have this retest of this trend line right here. I'm gonna go into the 30 minutes. So now looking at the structure that we're at right now, I'm gonna point out a few things. So one being, I always like to draw a major and a minor trend line. Okay. So by that, let me go back to the 1 hour. My major trend line showing like what direction we're in overall. So usually I'll take it from like the lowest point and draw it. Let's just say we can start it from this point at the bottom. I'll make it green. Now, why did I take it from this point to this point and not this point? Was because this If I take it to this one right here in the middle, it's cutting through all this. I want my major trend line to hold overall I want my major trend line to hold all the price up. So that's why I took it to this point. Because first of all, this is our main point in the structure. Remember, I just told you that it just broke through this whole zone right here. So that's our major point. And you can see this is still holding up price. So this is telling us a story that we're still in buys. We won't be in sales unless we break through this trend line. And remember, you all just want 2 points and draw into the future. So you can see we got this 1 point right here, 2 points, draw into the future. Then you can see it came back to this point right here. And now we can have possible continuation up. But look, this is a perfect example too on like if you miss this entry, like there's still another way to enter. But I'm about to get into that soon. But I'm just showing you that this is my major trend line that I have. Now you can also draw one from the top too. So you could draw one from right here. Now I got 1 points, 2 points. And then, of course, if it breaks and retests here, this retest of this trend line will be your entry to continue up. And all you would do is take your fib from this bottom one, take it to wherever it stopped, because you don't put your fib on until you get a retest. So take it to the top, enter, and then get out at whichever level it is. TP1 is always mandatory to get hit. Okay, so now where we're at, let's just say, okay, if you didn't get in on this point, what's another opportunity you can get on? I'm gonna go into my 30-minute. So now I'm on my 30-minute, so I'm looking at my minor structure. So we're looking for this uptrend, especially as these highs are getting higher, that's showing you it's a continuation. So you could have a few points, like you could have a point from like here to here. You can have 2 points here to here. As long as you have 2 points, like they're valid, okay? But it's just it's covering majority of price. So even from here to here, you can see that we started breaking through this trend line right here. And you can see we broke through past this high right here. I always say once you start breaking past like that second high to the left, like that's like double confirmation that you're in the right direction. So this is showing us that we're in buys of this section that's going. If you're breaking this high right here, then it's like just wait for that pullback to get in. Don't wait, like say if this starts pushing up, don't just hop in because it's going to pull back. Like it's going to pull back. Trust me, it's going to pull back. It's never just going to shoot up. It's going to pull back and then go into that overall direction. That's why I say wait for the retest before getting in. Because even for myself, I didn't get into this right here because I wasn't sure if it was going to come back to this zone right here. So I was waiting for another break and retest to happen before entering, especially because I don't know if you guys have watched, but I'm flipping a small account, so I'm trying to be wary of my trades. I'm not really trying to take super risky trades. So even looking at this right here, I will be waiting for a break, which it did, but a retest before continuing with this. Even if we put, because this is a structure too inside of this. Point A, point B, continuation. So if we put a fib on here, this came to, it really closed at 50. So I can see it coming up here to TP2, and we'll see if it's either going to break here or if it's going to come to this trend line and then pull back and then continuation. You never want to assume what it's going to do at a trend line until it gets to that trend line. That's why we always have to wait. We can't just say, oh, it's going to break past that trend line. Like we just don't know. So that's why we have to wait overall to see what it's going to do at that trend line. Go ahead, Jordan.
Well, I was going to ask, which icon did you click to see your fib on the left?
This one. I don't know if it shows these lines for you guys, because as you start using them often, it just automatically pops up.
Right.
But it's the second one, and it says fib retracement.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, and then I have once you go on the course, there's a link or a PDF with my settings too, so you can have the numbers set.
Okay, cool.
So right now with GU, that's really what I want to see. I want to see what it's gonna do at these trend lines. So I'm not really getting in, even though like I do see it like in buys, but like I said, I need that extra confirmation before just like hopping in. So GU, this is the next move. This is the right now money, is seeing what it does in this area. So even on my chart that I have marked up, which one was it? Yeah. This is the chart that I have marked up because sometimes I'll be trading on smaller time frames too. I did two versions, but we're gonna look at this one. So you can see I have this line right here. I put that this is a minor structure and that this is a major structure. So and this black line right here that you can see right here, that's the foundation level. So with that being a foundation level, it may sit in this area, which it has been for a little bit before it pushes. So right now it's already broke my minor structure. All I need is for it to like push up a little bit and then pull back to it. It doesn't count as a retest if it does not push away. Like you have to see like a white gap in between. Like it has to create like a little V formation, like with this white gap in between to count as a retest. If it just comes like down like this and there's no gap, like it's just stuck together, that doesn't count as a retest. That doesn't count as a retest. It just has to have that gap in between to be considered one. So that's what I'm waiting for right now for GU. What else? What else? What else? Oh, another thing too was you can see too. I always look at divergence. So right here at the on divergence on the RSI, you can see the bottom here was going up, and then this was going down. So this was an indication too that there was going to be some movement to go up. So that was that. Let me see what else was I looking at on GU. Yeah, I would say that's pretty much it. And then of course, again, like if it breaks and retests that top trend line, all you would do is just wait for another break and retest of here for a continuation. But to get in for this point, you definitely want to wait for it to pull back for a retest, and then that's when you'll get in to continue it up. That makes sense to everybody? Thumbs up. Okay. So that's GU. EU is pretty much similar. One thing I would say too, just to be wary of, never get in like say you're trading GU, don't just get in EU because like it's kind of like the same rules apply because they still do move differently. They do move at different times. So be wary of that. There could be a time where GU just shoots up or shoots down, whichever direction, and EU is still like playing around. So always treat pairs individually, never treat them the same. So this is EU daily, Y'all can see, look, it looked the same as G. That's crazy. Here, boom, boom. So overall with EU, we can see that it hit 50. So we're looking at for it to go right here, TP1. Boom. I'm gonna make it orange. I'm gonna put it daily TP1. Oops. Daily TP1. And then, of course, inside of that, we're going to have other structures, okay? So I'm going to go to the 4-hour. I love marking up the zones on the 4-hour because 4-hour is literally like mandatory. Like 4-hour is between, I like 4-hour because daily, if you draw a zone on daily and you're just looking at a zone on the daily, it's going to take forever. But I feel like 4-hour, it may be there for a minute, but it's still going to bounce back into that direction. So for here, for example, just looking at these points right here that was stopping these highs, you can see we broke and then we came back to retest it to bounce back up. With those, it's like, that's what the higher time frame just supports your overall analysis. The smaller time frames can easily be broken, but that's why it's important to go between each different time frame. Don't get stuck on one time frame, or else you'll just get lost in the sauce. So even just looking at this overall, this retest of this major zone right here, like this is like a whole structure inside of itself. So this could possibly surpass TP1 as well, which will hit 23.6. And this is a line. See, with this one, I have my weekly and foundation levels, but you can see this dash line is my weekly level. So anytime you're at a weekly level, you're going to have consolidation. And you can see, literally, this is what it's been doing. It's been sitting in this area. So that's like a double confirmation that we could be seeing this 4-hour get hit up here. So this is the daily, and this is the 4-hour. And just because you have a TP1 set, doesn't mean it's gonna stop at that TP1. It could still like go higher than that. Like sometimes it may stop there and drop or whatever. Sometimes it can surpass it. So don't be surprised if that does happen. Like don't ever feel like if you get in and you get out your TP1 and then you see it go higher, you could be like, dang, like I should have stayed in. Like no. At least you made money. So tell yourself that. So looking at this one, with this 4-hour, I see this one coming up here and then the daily TP being right here. So now we know overall we're still looking for those buys, right? Remember, it's literally doing the opposite of the dollar. The dollar is going down while euro, Great British pound are going up. So this is giving me my confidence too when it comes to placing these trades. So that was our 4-hour. Okay. Now we're going to go to let me see what my hold on, I'm gonna get to that later. I'm gonna go to. Okay. What was I supposed to do? Oh, let me change this. This was okay. Let me just delete this for now. We see the direction. So same thing, even just looking at like we can have a major trend line right there. That's our major trend line, 4-hour. Now, if we go inside of it to the 1-hour, we can have still find 2 points. Any 2 points, it doesn't matter. I always say just as long as it's covering majority, you can have 2 points going from right here. You can have 2 points coming from down here. Just as long as it's covering most of the price. Okay. So I'm gonna just leave this here. So you can see we have 1 point. It came back here 3 times. 2, 3, 4. Remember, anything after the second retest, those are entry points. Okay. So this could have been an entry point for you right here to get in. So even looking at this one right here, remember our overall TPs is this one for, I think that was the daily, and then the 4-hour up here. So now looking at this, if you miss this entry right here, remember there's always structure inside of structure. So we have this structure right here, boom, boom, boom. That played out. We have a structure right here, boom, boom, boom. That played out. I'm sure this one hit TP2. Yep. That's a 30-minute smaller time frame, and you can see it hit TP2 and then it pulled back. Okay. This is something that can be adjusted since it's the minor structure. So I just pulled it to the next side because we formed up another lower point, which retested the trend line. Remember, anything after the second retest is an entry point. Same thing for your zones. If it retested one time and then it comes to retest it a second or third time, those are still entry points. So now that we see that this came back here, this was a fib to draw. It came to 50. So now we know, okay, this is our next TP1. Okay. So now I'm showing you guys literally, this is just structure inside of structure. This is our highest TP1. This is our second TP1. This is our third TP1. You're always going to be able to make money inside of that major structure that you see. So now with this being our overall TP, let's just say if you didn't enter right here, remember all you need is a break and a retest. So there's different ways you can look at it. You can look at it from either a zone standpoint or a trend line standpoint. Okay, so let me show you both ways. So let me take one from the top. You can have a trend line from this high right there, 1 point. Let me mark it off, 1 point, 2 point, 3 points. These were cells, so these are minor cells to get in. 4 points, okay? Now, where we're at right now, this can do something like this too. Anytime you see a triangular point, you can see that before it starts breaking out into its direction. So that's why I say you can never say it's going to do something at a trend line. You have to wait to see like what it's going to do. That's why we always say trade what you see, not what you think. Okay? So just looking at this, like trading what I think, okay, if I'm going to be looking for a buy, like this is something like you can take advantage of sales inside of this, but I'm just talking about just the major overall point we're looking at. I need this to break through this trend line, which means it'll be breaking past these highs, break past that, come back here, retest, and then that will be my entry to take out right here. You can take out right there, or you can take out partial and then hold it until you get up here. It's up to you, depending on how you want to trade. That's up to you. And even if you do hold it, all you can do, you can just take the opportunities. Anytime it pulls back, all you're gonna do is that's gonna be another entry to continue up. Pullbacks are just opportunities to hop back in. Thumbs up if that makes sense. Okay. So, what else was I gonna say? Okay, so even before that happens, like I said, we can see something like, if that doesn't happen, we can see something like this happen, something like this, like trading in between before it does this overall move, which it possibly can. So even if that happens, like that's still opportunity for you to take advantage of. So let's just say if it does end up retesting this thing, this trend line, it's not 7 o'clock yet, so we'll have to see how it finishes. But this can be something too where if you want to, you can get in here and take a quick sell to TP1. Okay. Until you get that final break and retest. Remember, like I said too, since interest rates are being announced tomorrow, you remember things could be a little, slow, not really no movement going on until that is announced. Or also too, just because the market did open, we probably won't see any movement until maybe within like the next hour or two. It really it really like there's never no specific time, but like the hottest times I would say is for our time, Pacific time, is usually around 8, 9, I want to say maybe like 8 to 2 in the morning. Those are times where a lot of stuff is moving, and then also until maybe like 10 a.m. our time. That's the gap really, like between 9 p.m., 10 p.m. to like 10 a.m. That's where the market's doing a lot of movement. Um, Other than that, it's just moving slow because there's just certain hours for in different countries. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So even with this being said, there's still like there's like little zones right here. Like these little zones. These are things to like you can pay attention to see like, okay, price could potentially stop here. Even looking at this, I just drew that, right? You can see we broke through this area right here. We didn't fully come to this zone to test it. So that's why it could possibly come back down there. You remember I said so just to take out a TP1? And look, on the zone, it literally lines up with the zone. So that could possibly be coming down to retest that zone right there. Y'all see how that just went hand in hand? I didn't even see that at first. So even when you see like TPs aligned with zones and trend lines, like that's a good thing too, because that's also like just some good confirmation, just telling you like you're looking in the right direction. So that's what I see for EU. For EU, I would say if you want to get into this one, I would just wait. Or if you want to get in here, let's just say at 7 o'clock, it's about to be in 2 minutes. You want to take advantage of this. It's showing a lot of wick exhaustion. I will put like a stop loss, like maybe like right here at the top, just because it really shouldn't go anything above that. And then take it down here for 63 pips, and then get out. And then waiting to see if it's going to break through this trend line. I always say too, be prepared for the opposite. Okay, so this is like my overall analysis of what I see happening, but just be prepared, like I just said, because nothing is ever 100% guaranteed. So the opposite, if the opposite was to happen, it will just be a break of this trend line, retest, and a continuation down. Okay, so always just keep just the opposite side in mind, just in case. Okay. So does anybody have any questions on that before I move on? Okay. Now I'm going to go to gold. Same thing applies here to GU. So I'm seeing right here. It's wicking a little bit down, so it could probably wick back to this trend line. Okay. So now, okay. So this is the gold. Okay. So with gold, let me show you guys. So gold overall, we can see. Let me try moving up sorry guys. So this is the blank chart for the weekly. We can see just looking off this one right here, with there's highs and lows standing out. Let's just look at this area right here. Okay. So we have a low right here, high, high, low, low, high. Do you guys see how those points are standing out the most? Even right here, high. Okay. So just looking at just off those lows and highs, you can see if we put our 2 points right here from the top, this is showing us the overall downtrend right there. And this is showing us this is our structure right here. Boom, boom, continuation, but pull back right here. So continuation. Now if we take our fib from this first point to the second point, this all makes sense, you guys. This all makes sense. Now look at this. So let me go back. Let me take this back real quick. So let's just go off these points right here, right? So if we take our fib from here to this point, this is what I mean by even this is a prime example of what I was speaking on earlier about those higher time frames. This is a 4-hour time frame. You can see it came all the way to 61.8. Remember, anything above 50 means it's gonna hit TP2. This is the overall target. But that just means it's gonna take a while for it to get there. So now if you pay attention, so that means it's gonna be taking a lot of highs, a lot of lows before it gets to TP2. So I just marked up too this other low that was made. And then this high that was made right there. Okay. So the only way that this will not continue to TP2 right now, this is giving like we're supposed to be hitting TP2 just for the fact that it came to 61.8. The only way that it wouldn't hit TP2 and it was to go up is if it was to break this major trend line and then retest and go up. Okay. Remember, that's always a possibility, but I'm just looking at what I'm just seeing right now. And that's why it's important to have your major trend line on those higher time frames to show you overall like what the direction is. Right now, the direction is sales. This is holding price down. It's literally holding price down. So seeing off it's what it's showing me right now, I'm looking for it to eventually come down here. Okay. So looking at it from the bottom, I'm gonna draw another major trend line. This will be my second major trend line right here. Okay. So now we know this will be an ultimate confirmation if it breaks and retests that trend line to continue down, and your entry would be right here for that higher time frame. Okay. So now if we go down to the smaller time frame, I'm going to erase these lines. Now that we see that structure. So remember we have point A. These are all our structure points right here for continuation. Remember there's structure inside of structure. So if we go down, oh, this will be another confirmation too. Let me just draw this a little zone right here. You can see this was a resistance area that broke right here. It retested it right here and then pushed up to this trend line. That was an entry right here because you remember anything after the second retest is an entry. So this was an entry right here to take down the sales. Remember, since it hit the higher time frame, it's going to take a little longer to play out, but that's just about being patient. So now going down to the 1 hour, you can see there is a structure right here inside of this leg. Boom, boom, boom. Looking at this one, you can see it hit TP2 and then it started pulling back. Now, looking overall at what this structure is doing right here, you can see there's multiple structures. So you could have had a structure right here, like that. You could have a structure like here. Like there's always just a structure inside of structure. But looking at this one right here, we have a high, make it a different color, orange. We have a high, low. I'm just marking all of them off. High, low, high, low. Okay. So now the question is, okay, what is price about to do in this area? Okay. Right here, we saw that there was resistance. I mean, sorry, not resistance. RSI. This top was going down while this was going up. So looking right here, we can see even right here, you can see before this finished playing out right here, this structure right here. This was going down while the RSI right here was going up. So that's why it pushed up, just showing that there was a push up. Now where it's at, we're kind of in this area right now where we want to see like what it's going to do at this point or what would be an entry point. I still wouldn't enter unless you can either get a break and retest. Let me do this. You can either get a break and retest of this trend line, or you can get a break and retest of a zone area. So even just looking left at this chart, let me see something. So you can see these 3 points right here, right? Let's just draw it across to see where it's going. So even in these areas, you can see, this is like more of a 30-minute, but you can see that these have been minor support and resistance areas. So you can see every time it came to this area, it didn't like drastically push up, but it did a little bit. You can see it never like came out of this area, but it did just do like a slight push up. You guys see that? How it was kind of still like nearby? So just looking at this zone right here and going to where, even right here, after it broke, it retested here, pushed up a little bit, then came right back to it. Even right here, it broke, pushed, and it broke, retest, pushed up a little bit, came back. So that's kind of like, it's a history. It's a story that it's telling right there, right? So even with it being back at this area right here, it looked like, okay, it was retesting this area, but that doesn't mean that it's going to push back out. Just because the data to the left shows us it's not that strong to have price do that. Does that make sense? And that's just me looking left. So even with this happening right here, I'm not seeing any RSI, but what I will say is I would wait for, because this is a structure we could be looking at here, 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 at least to that trend line. Let's see if we place a fib. This is on a 30 minutes. So remember, 30 minutes, just because it hits 61, 78, 80 on the fib, doesn't mean it's going to go to TP2 because it's a minor structure. Remember, minor structure isn't always guaranteed to do that, but it is always guaranteed to go to 2P1. So if this is a continuation down here, I can see it going to TP1, and you see TP1 is aligned with our major trend line. So in order to enter this though, I will either, like I said, wait for this to retest this trend line. Boom, 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 like that. Or what it can do is it could come, uh, it could come and retest. If it doesn't retest this trend line, it's going to retest the zone. So this is why I put a trend line inside of a zone, because zones can get retested instead of trend lines too. I would put a line inside of a zone, and then I'll put my alarm right here, and I'll put it to alert me once per minute. Because I want to see if it's going to be breaking or retesting whatever I'm seeing, whatever I'm trying to look for. I want my phone to just go off to capture my attention. And then once I see what's happening, then I'll go back and change it to, okay, let me know once it closes to see if we're getting wick exhaustion or not. So with gold, that's what I would be patient for. Especially gold, because gold, it's a lot of volume in it. That's why I say like gold, you can make, how can I say, like a lot more money in a shorter time compared to currencies because it just moves so fast. So that's why you just have to be very conscious. Cautious? Is that the word? Cautious? Cautious? Cautious, whatever. Caution of it. Um when you're trading it. So just looking at this one though, overall, I do want to say that it is going to continue down. But like I said, still keep the other side in mind. Like if this does happen to go up, you will need to have a break of this trend line to retest, and then the retest will be your entry to go up for buys. because that can happen too. But my overall direction is it continuing down at least to this bottom trend line. But I would want to see it break through. And this is why I put my line right here. Not only is it in the zone, but it's also like right at the ends of this low right here because, excuse me, I want to see it break through that low. Because if we're breaking through that low, that means that we are like having some type of continuation. I want to see it break through that low, come back to retest, and then that would be my entry right there to take down for a sell. Does that make sense to everybody? And then when you do get in, like of course, always have a stop loss. Like always have a stop loss. Always give your a stop loss room to breathe. So let's just say if you enter here, you don't want to put it like right where you entered. You want to put it like somewhere above it. Because let's just say if you get in for a sell, if it starts pushing above your entry, it's not that you're wrong. You might have gotten in at the wrong time. But yeah, you still just want that wiggle room. And always just be okay when you are in the sell with how much that you're about to lose. So always just look at, okay, I'm okay with losing this amount before entering. Don't look at how much you're going to win first. Look at how much you're about to lose first because that's the most important part.